Ça va?
Ça va.
Oui.
So you have got your marks for your assignment?
Oui, c'est bon.
Très bien.
Oui, on a eu.
Good. Today, vous avez pu reviser un peu? At least have you been able to look at your notes with the slides, etc.? Yes?
Un petit peu.
Un petit peu? Très petit peu, ça. Do you have anything that I should do again? Any problem? Regarding the slides, anything that I should go through again? No? Okay, so jusqu'à plus tard, vous avez des questions, bien sûr. You please come up with the questions. So today we are going to look a little bit on what you are expected to focus on. You need to focus mainly on qualitative research. All right. On, I mean, everything that we have done. And I told you also, you need to have a look at in your manual. You should read your manual. Okay. And then also, you need to focus on qualitative, you need to focus on quantitative, on mixed methods, right? On ethics. D'accord? Principalement, tout ce qu'on a fait, vous devez reviser, vous devez savoir tout ça. Okay, now today we are going to do I'm going to give you free questions so that you can just think about it. So please take it down. What do you understand by, first of all, research questions? What do you understand by research questions? This is part A. Part B, research hypothesis. Part A is research question, part B is research hypothesis, and part C is research objectives. Okay. I'll give you a few minutes just to think about that. Try to think about what I have asked you. Then we can discuss a little bit on this. What are these and examples of these also. Then we'll move on to one question, most probably like that type that you're going to get for your exams. Okay? So I'll give you around 5 minutes just to think about it. Or if you have the answer, you can just jot down the answer so that we can discuss more about it. Okay? So we'll do that. I repeat the question. So what do you understand by, first of all, part A is research questions. Part B is research hypothesis. And part C is research objectives. Okay? Just give it a thought. Just think about it and we'll get back to that. I give you around 5 minutes, right? Then we'll discuss all these. Tuan Chekli? Sabar. Ali, okay. Okay, shall we discuss about it? Yes, what do you understand by research questions? Anyone? Yes?
Yes, madam. The topic on which we are doing the research.
The topic?
On which the research is being done.
Yes, you have one question, but namely, what are research questions? And I don't want to see any by chat. You please talk to me. Yes.
Maybe based on the research problem and the literature review, then we try to formulate a research question or a hypothesis. And yeah.
Yes. A bit like that. Yes. You are on the right track.
And the research, sorry.
Yes. Please go ahead.
The research question must also be very specific and relevant to the research problem, because first we need to identify what we're trying to tackle, what is the main problem. Then we do a literature review to see if there are other informations that can be gathered. And then based on these findings, then we try to formulate what our research is specifically trying to solve as in terms of problems and questions, maybe.
Very good, Atem. Very good, very nice explanation. That's a good try. That's a good, nice one. So let me just give you a few lines. Just take it down, and then I'll explain it to you more easily, right? So research questions are specific questions. Please write down. Research questions are specific questions that a research study seeks to answer, full stop. Seeks to answer, full stop. It is a concise statement. It is a concise statement of what the study intends to accomplish or reveal. I repeat, it is a concise statement of what the study intends to accomplish or reveal. Full stop. A good research question not only clarifies the writing in your study, not only clarifies the writing in your study, but it also provides your reader with a clear focus, with a clear focus, and facilitates their understanding, and facilitates their understanding of your research topic, comma, as well as outlining your studies objectives, as well as outlining your studies objectives. Next paragraph. A research question should be specific, comma. A research question should be specific, comma. Focused and complex enough. Focused and complex enough to merit a detailed answer, full stop. To merit a detailed answer, full stop. It should be researchable. It should be researchable using primary and /or secondary sources, and /or secondary sources, comma, feasible to answer within the time frame, and practical constraints, and relevant to your field of study, and society more broadly. And examples of research questions, please take down. Number 1. What is the impact of social media? What is the impact of social media on mental health? Second research question. How does the use of technology affect student learning outcomes? Affect student learning outcomes. Third one. How does parental involvement affect student achievement? And the last one. What is the effect of climate change? What is the effect of climate change on crop yields? All right, so let me just explain this. So research questions are specific questions that a research study seeks to answer. When you have a study to do, where you are about to do your dissertation, you have your study. Of course, you're going to have your title of your study. Just when you get your title of your study, now you have to investigate, right? You have to investigate in that question This is where you are going to do your dissertation, of course. Now, research question, as it is said here, these are specific questions that a research study seeks to answer. That is, you need to have a series of research questions for you to be able to really do your investigation. Now, these research questions, while answering these research questions, it means you are going to get the answers, how you are going to decipher, to really work out through your dissertation. Okay. Now, is this a concise statement of what the study intends to accomplish or reveal? That is, what do you intend really to look for? What are you going to do? What are you going to investigate into? These are the main highlights of what are research questions. Now, a good research question not only clarifies the writing in your study, but it also provides your reader with a clear focus and facilitates their understanding of your research topic, as well as outlining your study's objectives, right? So where you have your research questions, you have your research objectives, all these are very important when you start to do it with your dissertation. Now, a research question should be specific in the sense that it should really be related to your title, to your subject, right? Focused and complex enough to merit a detailed answer. So it should not be something which is too straightforward. You have to, through the question, through the title of your topic, you should be able to have a certain topic which is where you can put these research questions where you show your reader, okay, through these research questions, by answering these research questions, you are working through your title, you are working through your dissertation. Now, it should be researchable. You have to find something which is researchable. When you need to find a title for your dissertation, very often learners, they tell me, oh, it is difficult to find a title. No, you need to find a title which is researchable, which is, you cannot start a study, then reaching halfway, you say that, oh, I'm going to change to do something else because I don't think I'll be able to move on. No, you should think about all that prior to starting your dissertation, your study. So it should be researchable using primary and or secondary sources, feasible to answer within the time frame. You have a time frame to do your dissertation. You cannot take longer time. So, for example, for BSc level and master's level, it is you have around 6 months, to do your dissertation, as compared to PhDs. PhDs, you have much more longer time to do it. And practical constraints, you should consider the practical constraint that you have, because as I said, you cannot reach halfway and then you decide, okay, I'm getting so much problem to go ahead, so I'm just going to change the title. No, this is not done like this, right? And especially it should be relevant to your study. Your research question should be definitely relevant to your study, to your field of study, right? And then we came up with a few examples of research questions. For example, what is the impact of social media on mental health? This is one research question. Now, how does the use of technology affect student learning outcomes? How does parental involvement affect student achievement? And what is the effect of climate change on crop yields, right? Now, where there is somewhere it's written, it should be researchable using primary and secondary sources. What primary sources you're going to get to use? How are you going to get your primary sources and secondary sources? Yes? Anyone?
Primary through interviews or focus group, and secondary through other literature reviews or other actual documents available.
Exactly. Good. OK. So is that clear what are research questions? C'est-à-dire, c'est très important d'avoir le research questions quand vous avez votre titre. You need the research question. You need from that, you need the research objectives. And afterwards, you're going to formulate your research hypothesis qu'on va venir avec ça. Now, let's go to the research hypothesis. OK? Then we are going to do the research objectives. No, let me do the research objectives first. OK. Please take down. Research objectives are specific, comma. Research objectives are specific, comma. Measurable goals. Measurable goals. That define what the researcher intends to achieve in the study. That define what the researcher intends to achieve in the study. Full stop. They are derived from research questions. They are derived from research questions and provide a clear focus. And provide a clear focus. An example of a research objective is to identify and analyze. One example is to identify and analyze the key factors that affect consumer preferences, for eco-friendly products, through a survey of 500 participants. All right? So here, research objectives, they are specific, they are measurable goals that define what the researcher intends to achieve in the study. That is, you start with your research questions, right? And with the research objective is what you intend to what is the outcome of your study? What will it be? They are derived from research questions and provide a clear focus. For example, to identify, that is here you are very specific, that is you are going to identify and analyze the key factors that affect consumer preferences for eco-friendly products through a survey of 500 participants. Okay, so there is a difference between a research question and a research objective. Is that clear? Do you have any question regarding these two? Research question and research objectives? Ça va?
Oui, madame.
Oui? C'est bon. Now let's come to research hypothesis. Okay. Now, please take down a research hypothesis is an educated guess. A research hypothesis is an educated guess regarding what should happen, in a particular situation, under certain conditions, full stop. It is a prediction for your study. That is more specific than your research question. I repeat, it is a prediction for your study that is more specific than your research question. Full stop. A hypothesis is a statement. A hypothesis is a statement that can be tested. Through research and experimentation. Full stop. A hypothesis is a statement that can be tested through the research and experimentation. Full stop. For example, first example of a hypothesis: increasing the amount of sleep that teenagers get each night. Increasing the amount of sleep that teenagers get each night will result in a decrease in depressive symptoms, will result in a decrease in depressive symptoms. Full stop. Right? Another example of a research hypothesis: consumers who have a higher level of environmental awareness will show a stronger preference for eco-friendly products compared to those with lower environmental awareness. Okay? So here a hypothesis is an educated guess regarding what should happen in a particular situation under certain conditions. It is a prediction for your study that is more specific. A hypothesis is more specific than your research question. A hypothesis, it is a statement that can be tested through research and experimentation. Let me just give you a very simple example of a hypothesis. For example, we say that children raised up by single mothers are more liable to become juvenile delinquents. Okay? this is a statement, but we need to test through experimentation, etc., for us to know whether this is true, whether it is proved to be true or false. Okay, whether children raised by single mother, they are bound to become juvenile delinquents. This is something to be tested. This is something to be experimented. This is something to be investigated into for you to be able to know whether this proves to be true or false. Okay? Is that clear with these three things? Any question? Je vous écoute.
Just one question. Are the hypotheses are based on perceptions ou pas vraiment?
Perceptions of, qu'est-ce que vous voulez dire par perception? I mean, in what sense do perceptions of what?
Like they can be like perceived ideas.
Yes, we can say that because, you know, each and every one of us will have a certain specific perception, right? So when you try to formulate a hypothesis, yes, it can be a certain type of perception. Yes, it can be perception of the researcher himself or herself. Yes. C'est la façon de la personne, comment la personne voit les choses. Il peut dire, OK, moi je vois ça comme ça. Right? It can be true or false. It depends. It is an educated guess, as I said. So an educated perception, we can say, yes.
OK, merci madame.
Any other question? Yeah, any other question? You know, these three things are very important. Que ce soit pour les examens, que ce soit pour votre dissertation. Right? So these things are the basics for you to understand and then for you to be able to do your dissertation properly. Parce que research question, research hypothesis, et surtout research question, research hypothesis, and research question, research objectives, ça marche ensemble. Okay? Then afterwards, you're going to formulate your research hypothesis. So these three things are the basics of how you're going to manage with your dissertation. And you need to understand this one because this will be there for the exams where you will need to juggle with that. And you need to understand these three concepts well. D'accord? Relisez les trois, ce que je viens de donner. Try to see whether when you read it, you understand it clearly, whether it is clear. Any question, you let me know. I'll give you a few minutes. Read it over again and then let me know whether it is clear enough. Des questions? Pas de questions? Je vous écoute. Allez, vous êtes. Yes, pas de questions? Vous êtes là? Personne ne me répond. Qu'est-ce qui se passe? Allez, vous n'avez pas de questions?
Madame, j'ai juste une question pour par rapport qualitative research et quantitative. Est-ce qu'on
Oui.
devrait se focaliser sur quelques tools ou il faut essayer de tout savoir selon vous pour les examens comme si est-ce qu'il y a des tools en spécifique qu'on peut plus passer de temps pour apprendre les inconvénients, les avantages et moins d'autres?
You need to know absolutely everything that we have done on qualitative. Especially, I told you earlier that you need to read your manual well. D'accord? Faut bien lire le manuel. You need to master qualitative and quantitative well because you are going to apply your knowledge of qualitative and quantitative and even mixed method in the exams questions. J'ai dit au début, les questions vont pas être straightforward questions. You will need to use your brain, use your mind, you have to use your critical analysis, etc., for you to be able to answer the questions properly. So you need to revise everything, absolutely everything, and to master it well for you to be able to answer the questions. Ça va pas être des questions directes. Je vous ai dit depuis le début, les questions pour les examens, ça va pas être des questions directes. You will need to read the questions well, understand what the question, and the question might be in several parts. Quand je dis parts, c'est-à-dire it can be only one question with several questions within that one question. D'accord? Et je redis, la section A va être compulsory. You have a section A, which is a compulsory question. It will be on 50 marks. And then section B, you will be given 3 questions. Out of 3, you need to answer 2 of them. And each question from section B carries 25 marks. And the whole will be 100. Right? Est-ce que c'est clair? Vous avez bien compris pour le papier, the setting of the question paper?
Oui.
Pourquoi est-ce qu'on me répond à travers?
Oui, madame.
D'accord. Any other question concernant les examens, concernant le papier? Ça doit être clair dans votre tête. So you're sitting for the exams, you're expected of what? À ce moment-là, you don't beat about the bush. As soon as you get your question paper, you know that section 8 is compulsory. So you just read and you start writing straight away, right? But for section B, you need to choose. Out of 3, you choose 2 questions. Read the question well. Choose well. Don't start a question and then you say, I am stuck. I don't know. I'll try the other one. In the meantime, you're wasting time, right? Because don't forget the paper is only 2 hours paper. So you need to write quickly. You need to write very fast. I should say, yes, very fast. And then try to read your question well. Try to understand the question well. Et oui, vous commencez à travailler aussitôt que vous comprenez. You start, but I would advise you to revise properly, to revise well. Any question?
Madame, vous avez dit qu'il y aurait des notes sur Blackboard. Est-ce que c'est déjà...
Non, je n'ai pas encore. Je vais le mettre. Give me by tomorrow or this weekend. Right? Give me by tomorrow or this weekend. I'll put a few notes on the Blackboard for you to be able to read and to understand. D'accord? Vous avez d'autres questions? Allez, vous êtes. Je vois beaucoup de personnes, mais je vois que 2 personnes qui me répondent. What happens to the others? And also I see that there are very few students, learners who are following the class online. There are so many people enrolled for this module. Allez, je vous écoute, vous êtes. D'autres questions? Anything that you have not understood in the chapter that I have done? Il y a quelque chose qui n'est pas clair, que vous voulez que je refasse, que je vous repasse dessus, laissez-moi savoir. Pas de questions? Okay, let's move on to another question then. I'm giving you a question for 8 marks, right? Please take it down. Analyze and justify. Analyze and justify. The significance of ensuring. The significance of ensuring. A researcher employs a representative sample a representative sample in their study, comma, in their study, comma, providing two key reasons. Providing two key reasons. Je répète la question. Analyze and justify the significance of ensuring a researcher employs a representative sample in the study, comma, providing two key reasons. This question is for 8 marks. Okay, according to you, how would you go on to tackle this question? Je vous écoute. Comment vous allez commencer cette question? Comment vous allez commencer à travailler cette question?
Maybe we should talk about the difference between validity and reliability. When
Here
we
in
have,
this question,
yes, when we have
pourquoi
reliability,
validité et reliability entrent dedans là? What is
because
the main essence of this question?
because when we have a representative sample, the result can be
On vous
duplicated.
lisez la question. When you read that question, give me the keywords in this question. What are the main concepts in this question?
Representative samples.
Okay, very good. So what is a representative sample? J'avais expliqué ça. What is a representative sample?
A sample that represent that a sample that have all the components of a population, let's say all ethnic groups and different group age in it.
No, not exactly. I explained why I took a very simple example. For example, I am a researcher. I want to do a research on young girls, right? And I just move on in a college. There are lower 6 students. I'm looking for students who are girls, of course. Number one, they are girls. Age between 16 to 18, who are fair, who have long hair, all right, and then who have brown eyes, okay? So first criteria is they are girls. They should be between 16 to 18 years old. They should have long hair. They should be fair, and they should have brown eyes. So these 5 things, these are 5 criteria that I'm looking for me to have a representative sample. So what I do, I move on to in a college where you have that age. There should be students in the lower 6, okay? So in that college, I have 5 classes of lower 6, right? So I move on to each class and I try to pick up all the girls who satisfy these 5 criteria. For example, in class number 1, for example, we have 5 classes. In the first class, I get around only 1. In second class, I get 2. Third class, I get 1. Fourth class, I get 2. And fifth class, I get 1. Okay. So the total of all these 1, 2, 1, 2, etc. So this is my representative sample. That these are going to represent to be a representative of the whole population. D'accord? That is, these people, they satisfy by criteria what I'm looking for. D'accord? So here you have to understand what is a representative sample first of all, and then analyze and justify the significance of ensuring why we need to ensure to have a representative sample when we are doing a research. La question c'est ça. La question c'est ça. That is, you have to analyze and you have to justify the significance of ensuring why a researcher has to ensure that he's employing a representative sample in his study, and you have to give 2 reasons for that. So give me 2 reasons why we need to have a representative sample. Je vous écoute.
So that the outcome won't be biased.
So that the outcome won't be biased. Yes. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Oui. C'est tout? On me dit ça, fini, it is not biased. How are you going to explain? How are you going to justify this? Give me elaborate more on that. You told me to minimize bias and error. Okay. It's not, you can't give me only 1 sentence for that. So you need to elaborate more. So elaborate more on this. What can be the result if you have a bias? When there is bias, it can lead to what? When you have a bias in a study, this can lead to what? Allez, vous autres.
Madam, low reliability.
Yes. Yes, and then not only it is low reliability, it is completely unreliable when you have bias. The outcome is unreliable. You're not going to have a good result. You're not going to have anything, right? And also you are going to have incorrect conclusions. If you don't have a good, it is not reliable at all. How are you going to, the conclusions won't be good at all. Okay. This is the first one, and the second one, I'll give you the answer in writing, but give me the second one. This was the first one. It is to minimize bias, and the second one is? Je vous écoute.
Madam, maybe to
Yes.
have an in-depth knowledge.
In-depth knowledge. Pas vraiment ici. Pas vraiment ici. Pas pour cette question. Non.
To be able to generalize.
Yes, exactly. Ça va, c'est bon? I guess we got disconnected for a while.
Oui, c'est bon, madame.
C'est bon? Okay, c'est bon. Okay, please take down the answer for this one. So the first one is generalizability. The first reason is generalizability. So one crucial reason why it is important, one crucial reason why it is important for a researcher, why it is important for a researcher to have a representative sample, is that it enhances the generalizability. It enhances the generalizability of the study findings, full stop. Of the study's findings, full stop. When a sample accurately reflects, the characteristics of a larger population, comma, it becomes possible to make broader conclusions. About the population as a whole. Right? For example, if a sociologist studying income inequality in a city, uses a representative sample of residents, comma, the findings can be applied to the entire city's population, to the entire city's population with more confidence, with more confidence, right? Second one, minimizing bias and error, minimizing bias and error. Another key reason is to reduce bias and error, is to reduce bias and error in the research, full stop. In the research, full stop. A non-representative sample, comma, a non-representative sample, comma, such as one that overrepresents, such as one that overrepresents a particular demographic group, comma, such as one that overrepresents a particular demographic group, comma, can introduce bias results, full stop, can introduce bias results, full stop. This bias can lead to incorrect conclusions. This bias can lead to incorrect conclusions and unreliable research outcomes. And unreliable research outcomes. Right? Is that clear? Please go through it. And if you have any questions, I'm here. But go through it. Go through it, read it again. Let me know if you have any questions.
Madame, vous pouvez juste répéter la dernière phrase, s'il vous plaît?
D'accord. This bias can lead to incorrect conclusions and unreliable research outcomes. C'est bon, c'est clair? Des questions? Allez, vous n'avez pas de questions? Non? C'est clair? Vous êtes là? Personne ne me répond?
C'est bon, madame.
C'est bon, c'est clair.
Okay. Now, let's move on to another question. Take the question. Please take down the question. Critically evaluate. Critically evaluate the claim that participant observation is more effective when the researcher's identity is concealed. When the researcher's identity is concealed from the group under study. This is for 15 marks. Je redis, je répète la question. Critically evaluate the claim that participant observation is more effective when the researcher's identity is concealed from the group under study. This is for 15 marks. 15 points. You are going to have these types of questions in section A, which will be for 15 marks, and of course, which are compulsory. So get used to this type of question for section A. Okay? Je vous écoute. How would you proceed to tackle such a question? What are the main concepts? Et qu'est-ce qu'il y a d'intéressant dans cette question? Qu'est-ce qu'il y a de plus précis dans cette question? Je vous écoute. Lisez la question bien. Il y a quelque chose de très, très précis dedans. Dites-moi.
Concealed.
Participant observation.
Yes, the question is on participant observation. Oui, mais il y a une phrase qui est très déterminante.
It talks, madam, concealed. It talks about covert participant observation.
Yes, because here the main gist is that the sentence, the researcher's identity is concealed from the group. Yes, this is covert participant observation, right? So here you have to critically evaluate the claim that participant observation is more effective, whether it is more effective when you are concealing the identity of the researcher from the group under study. D'accord? Dans l'introduction, qu'est-ce que vous devez faire? You have such a question, of course, you have an introduction, you have the body part, and then you have the conclusion. That what are you going to put to write in the introduction?
What is covert observation?
Avant ça. Before that. Vous devez expliquer c'est quoi PO, c'est quoi participant observation. The question itself, it is on participant observation, yes or no? Oui?
Yes.
D'accord? Mais plus précisément, it is on covert participant observation. Why we say that it is a more precisely on covert, where you find the the part where it is written when the researcher identity is concealed from the group under study, right? So when the researcher's identity is concealed, it gives you the direct indication that it is covert participant observation. Now, when you start such a question, in the introduction, first of all, you need to explain what is participant observation, first of all, right? Then you explain what is, then what do you have to do afterwards?
Differentiate between covert and overt participant observation.
Yes, you can just give one sentence just to, vous n'avez qu'à mentionner that there are two types of participant observation, namely you have the overt and the covert. You can just give a brief definition of what is overt, right? And then you are going to explain a little bit more. You elaborate more on what is covert participant observation, because you are going to work on that, right? C'est clair?
Oui, madame. Oui, c'est bon.
So you explain, you give the definition of what is participant observation, and then you just mention that there are two types of participant observation. You have overt and covert. You just give a brief outline of what is overt, but you elaborate more on covert because you are going to work on that. C'est bon? C'est clair?
Oui, madame.
Okay. Et puis vous allez expliquer, what are you going to explain more than after? What are you going to do afterwards? Ça, c'était seulement l'introduction. You just introduce what is, très brièvement, c'est quoi participant observation, etc., comme je vous ai expliqué. Then the next paragraph, what should you do?
Madam, gives a strength of covert observation, participant observation.
Ça va venir après. Ça va venir après. But here in this question, the fact that you need to critically analyze, evaluate, right? Il faut donner bien une explication sur participant observation. Quand je dis une explication, you need to elaborate more. Elaborating while giving that you are observing people in their natural setting. N'est-ce pas? When you use participant observation, that you are observing people in their natural setting, right? And it is mainly, the main characteristic of this is that the researcher is participating fully in the activities of the group and in the collection of the first-hand data. You have the researcher is participating fully in the research. Oui ou non?
Oui, madame.
N'est-ce pas? He is participating fully because it is a covert participant observation. But avant, it is a participant observation. That is, he's participating in that study. He's observing these people in the natural setting, and he has to participate in the activities of the people and the study, right? And then also he is participating. He has to collect data from that group. Then afterwards, what do you have to explain? You have to explain, namely, on what is covert participant observation, right? The part covert, here we have to elaborate on that. Well, you have to explain what does that mean when the researcher is concealing his identity. What does that mean when we say that the researcher is concealing his identity? Qu'est-ce que ça veut dire? What are the implications behind when we say that the researcher is concealing his identity? Je vous écoute. Allez-vous-autres. C'est quoi ça? Concealing his identity. Ça veut dire quoi ça?
He's a participant too. No one gets to know that he's a researcher. Entre guillemets, c'est comme si there is a hidden agenda for the researcher. No one will know what he is doing while observing those participants.
Yes, and then what? What else? When I had given the definition of covert participant, okay, the researcher is concealing his identity, but while concealing his identity, what does that mean more?
Ethics. Éthique.
Oui, ça va venir après l'éthique. Mais let's just concentrate on that part of concealing the identity. When we say that he's concealing his identity, what else is he doing?
C'est plutôt pour valider la réponse.
Yes, you're going to get more valid information, ça c'est vrai. Not only is he concealing his identity, but the motive of his presence he's concealing, okay? These people, they don't know whether that person is a researcher. And they will not know that there is a research going on, d'accord? And of course, then afterwards you will have the issue of ethics which comes into play. And this may, when you adopt a covert role, you have to use very often a pseudonym, because you might not be using your name, your real name. Okay, you can be using a pseudonym. And then the research purpose is hidden from the participants, because these participants, they don't know, these people, they don't know whether you are a researcher, you are here undercover trying to observe these people, right? Now, regarding, so here you will have to, you can write a little bit, 2 paragraphs on the first part where you have to explain on participant observation, and on the second part where you have to explain a little bit on the implications of concealing the researcher's identity. Now let's come to the advantages of concealing the identity. Je vous écoute. What advantage is there when they conceal their identity, when the researcher is undercover? Je vous écoute. You can give at least two questions, two advantages, but where you need to elaborate on these, because don't forget, you need to analyze, to critically evaluate, right? So you need to give the evaluation also. So here for 15 marks, you just give around two reasons, 2 advantages, but well elaborated. And then you are going to give 2 disadvantages, 2 critiques, and then you'll have the conclusion. So give me 1 advantage of concealing the identity. Yes?
La personne pour plus à l'aise pour donner sa réponse.
La personne pour plus à l'aise pour donner sa réponse. Oui. Oui, oui, oui. I said no. Chat, you please talk to me, right? Give me the answer. Yes, yes, yes. But when we say that, comme vous me dites, c'est plus à l'aise. Dans quelle façon on va mettre ça? Is where you are diminishing the observer effect, right? You don't realize that there is an observer in front of you asking you so many questions. It will be like an unstructured interview. It will be more like a conversation. That is, the person is going to talk to you very friendly, not a formal, an informal conversation. And through that informal conversation, the researcher is going to get more information from you, right? And when you have an observer effect, these people, they try, when they know that they are being observed, very often people try to change their behavior, which is known as when people try to change their behavior. How is that called? When people, they are aware that they are being observed, they have the tendency of changing their behavior. How is this known? How is this called? No? Allez, vous êtes.
Hawthorne effect?
Yes, this is the Hawthorne effect. Exactly. Right? Now give me a second one. A second reason, a second advantage of concealing. Vous m'avez dit observer effect. La personne est plus à l'aise. But give me another one, which is very important, a very crucial one, a very important one.
Madam, valid data is obtained.
Yes, this is the method where you are going to get the most valid data. Parce que, first of all, the person is not aware that he or she is being observed. You join a group, you ask these people question where they don't know whether they are being observed or they are being questioned by a researcher. So you get that person in his or her natural setting, qui est très, très important. Then there is the minimize, if you don't really have, there is no observer effect, all right? And when there is no observer effect, there is no Hawthorne effect also. So in that case, you are going to get maximum valid information, d'accord? Which is not biased. It is the most valid information that you are going to get. And then also the researcher is able to access the hidden or unfiltered aspects of the participants' life, because maybe they would not have talked about this to a certain issue about someone, but while talking to you, they say, okay, they think of you as a friend. So they just open up and talk about a specific issue, which is quite a delicate issue, right? So this enhances also the richness and depth of the data collected. You have rich data, right? And you have authentic This is known as authentic data that you get through a covert participant observation. Okay. Now let's come next paragraph. You're going to write on the critiques of concealing. Give me one disadvantage of it. Because the question is critically evaluate. When you need to evaluate, that is, you have to give the critics the disadvantages. Yes. Je vous écoute.
Madam, getting access may be difficult for the researcher.
Yes, getting access, but more important than this, when we talk of covert participant observation, what comes to your mind, which is very, very important, especially when we talk of covert participant observation?
We can
Madam,
get involved in
the researcher may become subjective.
Yes. Subjective in what sense? How can the researcher become subjective?
He develops compassion may develop compassion for someone.
Yes, and how is this called? What is the term that we use?
He can go native.
Yes. Yes, carry on. Yes, please continue. Je vous écoute,
The
Madame
researcher
Boulja.
loses the validity. The researcher loses validity because he becomes too close to the participants or get involved, develop feelings. He loses tracks. He loses his track rather than being objective to go through what he had to inquire. He loses track. He becomes subjective, and then he loses validity.
Yes, and how do we call that? There is one specific term that we term all these. We say that the researcher you started saying it and then you stopped talking. When the researcher becomes subjective, yes, he goes native. When the researcher goes native, this is what exactly happens. He over-identifies himself. He becomes subjective. D'accord? And while becoming subjective, all the results become biased, they are no more valid. OK? Et puis, plus important que ça, qu'est-ce qui saute aux yeux quand on parle de covert participant observation? Allez, vous êtes. Ethics. We know. Pourquoi ethics?
We can get involved in dangerous activities.
Yes. Mais avant ça, quand on parle de ethics, when we talk of ethics, we come to what?
L'identité cachée.
Pardon?
L'identité cachée.
Oui, l'identité cachée, oui. What did we do when we did ethics? We talked about what?
Being truthful to the participant. Here he's undercover. He did not decline his intention really.
Yes, yes. Mais plus principalement, you don't get the consent of the person before you start doing that. Informed consent, il n'y a pas, parce que la personne ne sait pas que vous êtes là comme researcher. So the question of having that informed consent doesn't rise at all, right? And then there is deception. You are being deceived. The person that you thought was a friend is no more a friend and turned out to be a researcher. C'est très, très décevant. You get to know someone, you get acquainted with someone, you used to talk to that person every day, and at the end of the day, you realize that this person is not a friend of yours, but turned out to be a researcher. D'accord? Alors, c'est très décevant pour une personne, n'est-ce pas? And however, these people, the participants, have the right to know what is going on, whether there is a research going on, and not allowing them to that they are being they have the right to know that they are being observed, and concealing identity is infringing the rules upon their rights. D'accord? Parce que c'est le droit de savoir qu'est-ce qui se passe. Alors, de ne pas leur dire qu'on est en train de faire une recherche, you are infringing that right upon these people. And deception also can lead to mistrust and ethical dilemmas, right? And et puis quoi d'autre? What more can you tell me about the disadvantages of concealing the identity? At first, someone told me that getting access is difficult. Okay. Et puis, what can you tell me more? How, according to you, can such a research go on well when even you are doing a covert participant observation? How can the research go on well? Comment? What must the researcher do to be able to get maximum information, and how will he manage to go ahead with the research, with the research study?
The researcher has to learn the culture of that group very quickly so that
Yes.
he can get access.
Oui, tout à fait. C'est très important de savoir the background, the culture of the group that you're going to study. C'est très important aussi. But more importantly is that the researcher has the should have the ability, should have the skills to embark on conversation, right? And then to build up that trust for that person to be able to open up to give for him to get maximum information, right? Pour pouvoir avoir plus d'informations, il faut que la personne parle. Now, it's not very easy. You have a stranger in front of you or a friend, nouveau ami que vous connaissez pas. Very often there are people who are introvert. They are not really willing to open up to, give me a stranger, right? Now, that stranger has to have the appropriate skills to be able to talk to that person, to build a relationship of trust, first of all, and then to try to build on the conversation, to build on a certain rapport with the participant, for that person to be able to open up, to voice out, to be able to open up really, and to talk. And the more that the participant is going to talk, the researcher is getting more and more information. D'accord? Et quelque chose d'autre que je voudrais ajouter, while concealing the identity, is that the researcher cannot take down notes. On ne peut pas prendre les notes parce que les personnes ne savent pas que vous êtes un researcher. So the researcher has to rely on his memory. He doesn't even have the right to record anything, right? Because if ever they come to know that there is a recorder with him, so he might get into problems, and it might be very dangerous also for him. And then also to get access out of the group, ça peut pas se faire très vite, because he has to wait for the appropriate moment to get out of the group. Otherwise, they will start inquiring, okay, where is he or where is she? And it might be very dangerous for that person. Okay? Next time we are going to discuss a little bit more. I sincerely hope that you revise, because I have been mostly the only one to be talking. Only a few of them, I can say only 3 of you have been talking, reacting to my questions, que j'aime pas du tout, avec tout le beau monde qu'il y a dans cette classe. Mais bon, I sincerely hope that you kindly revise, because we have our last class, which will be on the 28th of October, c'est-à-dire, parce que samedi, ça va être samedi prochain, le samedi, le 28. It will be still online, so we will have class as per the initial timetable. That is, we will have class for social work research at 10:30 to 12:30. Then afterwards, I'll have class with social perspective, right? So, yeah, je vous écoute. Des questions? So I guess now you have an idea a little bit what type of questions you are going to get. You will have to read your question well and to understand what the question is asking for. D'accord? Des questions? Allez, je vous écoute. Non? Pas de questions? Vous êtes là? Ou déjà parti?
C'est bon, madame.
C'est bon. Okay, if you don't have any question, well, I'll stop here because I've been waiting so long for the questions. I'll advise you to revise. Then on the 20th, we can still work out a few, discuss a few questions more. But you need to revise, right? And I told you need to revise from your manual also. Read your manual well. And then we can just discuss a few questions on the 28th. Okay? So I'll meet you on the 28th at 10:30. Okay? Yes?
Ok, c'est bon, oui.
Okay. Okay, bye-bye. Thank you.
Merci, madame. Bye.
Merci,
Bye.
madame. Au revoir.
Au revoir. Bye.